"2019 was a momentous year in the history of our city of Delaware, and we begin 2020 with positive energy and high hopes."
We are a great place in America. Delaware was chosen to be one of the 13 cities across America to receive this award. We were lucky enough to go to Washington, D.C. in September to receive this award, and then we had a local celebration here in our great city in October.
In October, our city came together and recognized Rutherford B. Hayes as the 19th President of the United States with the unveiling of a statue, long overdue in our community.
A record number of new jobs were created in Delaware in 2019, 450 jobs, which equates to $19 million in payroll. I wonder if there's any connection to the year 2019. Who knows what the year 2020 will bring.
We learned in November that ODOT was investing an additional $8 million in the Point Project, one of the most consequential transportation projects in our history.
Given this positive momentum, it's not surprising that Delaware's population continues to climb, estimated to be at 43,000. This represents a growth rate of 24% over the last decade and 8,000 new citizens. Our city has effectively more than doubled in size since 1990. City Council and staff have embraced a strategic planning process built around 4 goal-driven themes:
Great community, safe city, healthy economy, effective government. It's on these 4 pillars that we base our efforts in 2019 and our focus going forward into 2020.
The city's workforce is evolving, and we are seeing experienced leadership retire. It is important to develop future leaders with the necessary skills to be effective in their roles. The City of Delaware's new Manager Development and Leadership Program in 2019 graduated its first class of future leaders. 15 staff members from various city departments were nominated by their superiors to participate in the inaugural class.
This is a great program for the city to be embarking on right now. We initially identified back in 2017 that we were going to have a great amount of our leadership that was going to be exiting the workforce within the next 10 years. We took it upon ourselves to say, hey, we need to do something about this and ensure that we've got the talent here and ready for when that change happens. This program serves to not only benefit our organization in-house, but also our community, because we are ensuring that we are going to have that leadership in place for the next 10, 20, 30 years. And we're developing that right now, and that's exciting. We're taking individuals that have the experience and knowledge, and we're equipping them with the tools necessary to be able to lead the city into the future.
Staffing changes at the police department will address the challenges associated with a growing community. The position of assistant chief is being reestablished to allow for better distribution of the administrative workload and better align police functions. A new full-time service coordinator is proposed through a unique grant partnership with the Delaware Morrow Mental Health and Recovery Services Board.
We've spent time working with our partners in those service agencies, but this is full time. And there's a lot of overlap between crime and mental health and addiction and homelessness. And if we can target the cause of the behaviors that lead to us investigating crimes, we're doing a lot better for the individual and for the community.
Our fire and EMS department is hiring 6 paramedics dedicated to risk reduction. These community paramedics will work 12-hour shifts during peak demand times and be responsible for more than 1,000 special needs, high risk, and high demand residents.
This is an exciting period for the Delaware Fire Department as we continue to become one of the most proactive agencies in Central Ohio. We'll be taking our responses that we typically make and getting ahead of those, and instead of being reactive, being more proactive and managing the risks in our community. We have over 1,000 special needs patients that we're going to be working on to make sure that they don't need to call 911. We're also going to be looking at using telemedicine, where we can end up calling a doctor on a tablet to render care, that we don't have to necessarily take a patient to the hospital. Ultimately, reducing the cost of EMS in our community, but also being more proactive and allowing people to manage their own health care.
Strong residential development across the community made 2019 the highest overall permitting year of all time, with more than 700 new residential permits issued for single-family homes, condominiums, and apartment units. The Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission recently estimated that our Central Ohio region could grow by another 1 million people by 2050 from the current number of 2.4 million. A key component will be the ability to house the anticipated population in a variety of residential unit types to ensure overall economic success.
Well, demographics are really playing a key role in changing the marketplace here in Delaware and Central Ohio and Ohio in general. With baby boomers and millennials coming into the housing market, we need to provide a variety of housing options for everybody.
Maintaining livable neighborhoods requires the participation of all residents. City of Delaware enforcement codes benefit everyone and make our neighborhoods a better place to live. Compliance with these standards can reduce vandalism, deter crime, maintain property values, and prevent deterioration of our neighborhoods.
In 2020, we're going to take code enforcement even more seriously throughout our community that continues to grow, nearly 44,000 people now. It's going to be its own standalone division with 2 officers full-time that can respond to property maintenance code issues as well as zoning code issues.
Delaware Together, our comprehensive plan update, made significant progress in 2019. The 30-member steering committee met several times, and there were opportunities for public input. 2020 will see the completion of this effort, including the final round of public input. Thoughtful planning and excellent public services also position Delaware as a leading place to do business. More new job growth creation than ever before is just one indicator.
Columbus 2020 has recently announced that the city of Delaware saw 31% new job growth in the last 9 years. That indicator has a lot of factors underneath it that show that we're really performing very well in Central Ohio and in Ohio. And we're seeing that particularly in our downtown area with huge renovations in our second, third floors that are allowing more office spaces to be opened and filled with high tech and creative service jobs. We're sitting in a venue that was a public-private partnership between the city of Delaware and Cohatch that allowed us to bring in 20 plus companies into the downtown area with significant payrolls and white-collar jobs. We've really created a presence in Ohio, a place for young professionals to move to a fairly small town atmosphere, but have all of the amenities that they would have in a short north or in a purely urban metro environment. And I think that's very exciting. I think it's something we can continue to build off of. It's a great foundation for our future as a city.
The City of Delaware is planning for our current and future transportation needs. The East William Street widening project is on schedule for a 2020 completion after significant progress was made in 2019. Widening East William to accommodate a center turn lane will allow through traffic to be separated from left-turning vehicles. This will reduce congestion and accidents and increase safety for the 20,000 vehicles that travel the street daily. Most of the $6.4 million project is being paid for with state and federal grants. The city is responsible for $1.1 million of the total cost.
As planned, the project will take 2 years to construct. In 2019, we made substantial progress on the south side of William Street. We relocated numerous utilities, water lines, gas lines, electric lines. We also widened about 4 or 5 feet of the pavement on William Street, widened the sidewalks by a foot, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but will make a big difference. And we rebuilt approximately 100 feet or so of all the side streets that intersect William Street on the south side. At the western edge of the project, the existing pedestrian bridge over William Street at Lake Street has been removed. And in 2020, we'll be replacing the bridge, widening the intersection to better allow for trucks to maneuver through the intersection. We're on schedule for final completion of the project in late June of 2020. Before then, we'll be widening the north side of William Street in the spring of 2020. We'll be installing new decorative street lighting along the corridor, new mast arm traffic signals at Cheshire and William and at Lake and William, and we'll top the project off with some nice new landscaping along the corridor.
The $30 million point improvement project continues forward after 2 very successful community meetings in 2019 that drew more than 150 people and dozens of submitted comments.
I grew up in Delaware, went through school here, been here since the mid-70s. Everybody's aware of it. People new to the area become well aware of it immediately. So yes, it is something that affects us daily. Any plan that we have that's going to relieve the stress and the pressure of what happens around rush hour, I think it's going to resolve a number of problems. I think I realize it's a complicated, expensive project, and it's going to take a length of time in order to sort through that. But I think that the end result is going to be fantastic.
There was good news on the funding front. ODOT is committing an additional $8 million into the project, and the Kroger Company has pledged $300,000, seeing the benefit of an improved point for freight hauling. This year, more design will take place on the point project as we work toward construction in 2022. As the city evolves, so too do our needs for technology. Over the next 2 years, the city will be implementing a new enterprise resource planning system that will enhance communication and technology among city departments and be responsive to resident service requests.
This is a very big deal for the city because everyone needs to be involved, everyone will be involved, and I think that it will help the community as a whole because a citizen may not know what to report, who to report a lamp down. Do you report that to utilities? Do you report it to traffic? They may not know that. They report it to the city and then it gets to the right person. So we can fix it promptly, we can communicate it that it's been fixed, and then the citizen knows that we're listening and that we care about their issues and we can address them in a timely manner.
Led by input from residents, concept plans are being worked on for an expanded Unity Park, currently called Ross Street Park, and a neighborhood park west of the Boulder Drive Houck Road intersection.
So at Unity Park, we learned a lot that the community wanted to see more gathering space and green space. So we instituted more of that in the park to facilitate those wants and desires of the community. At the new neighborhood park on Houck and Boulder, we heard a kind of a different response from the community. They wanted to see more natural space, more green space, just areas that were returned to their natural state. So that's what we're working towards in that park out there, is leaving the woodland as it is, adding trails. That was another component they wanted to see more of, and some active recreation where it included some obstacle courses. But trails and we'll look at doing some prairie grass, more trees, and really turning that into kind of a nature oasis out there.
With 80 acres, Oak Grove Cemetery is Delaware County's largest cemetery. Established in 1851, it also serves as a park and arboretum for many residents. A new master plan for Oak Grove envisions several new sections: a gateway garden near the Sandusky Street entrance, a meandering creek walk and nature walk garden, a memorial garden with a small pond near Liberty Road, and a cremation garden with columbarium spaces for cremated remains.
The cemetery industry is changing. There are more cremations than there are direct burials now, And that led us to create a master plan that would allow us to change with the new trends in the cemetery. So 3 things the master plan we wanted to accomplish in that. One was to provide the new interment options for the public. The second was to take advantage of the natural characteristics that are on the site now. The third option was to create more of a park-like setting that would be an asset to the community.
Delaware is one of only 43 locations that can lay claim to being the birthplace of a United States president. But over the years, there had been little recognition of Hayes' birth and early years in Delaware. But a local group, led by Chairman Bill Reitz, raised nearly $150,000 for the statue and upgrades to the downtown plaza. Taking part in the celebration was His Excellency Manuel Caceres, U.S. Ambassador for Paraguay. Hayes is a national hero in Paraguay for his efforts in the 1870s, intervening on behalf of Paraguay in a land and border dispute with Argentina, Uruguay, and Brazil.
What a night to be the mayor. I was never more proud of my city than I was this night to unveil this beautiful statue and recognize our native son.
Also that month, London Road from Sandusky Street to Liberty Street was designated E.W.B. Curry Way for Elmer Curry, who was born in Delaware in 1871 on South Street, now London Road.
In 1889, Elmer Curry graduated from Delaware High School. At that time, one of the few schools in Ohio that allowed mixed race classes. He attended Ohio Wesleyan and was the first African American to teach in Delaware schools. He went on to start the Curry Institute of African American Youth in Urbana.
We all know Delaware is a great place, but now we officially are. Downtown Delaware was recognized in Washington, D.C. by the American Planning Association as a great place in America. Judges said downtown Delaware was a national example of how planning can balance historic character with the community's evolving desires. In October, we held a homegrown celebration. At the event, Planning Director Dave Eflin said,
"There are so many people who have contributed through time to make this a great community and a great downtown. We think our time is just beginning to emerge here in Delaware, and the best is yet to come."
We couldn't agree more. That's a great way to wrap up the State of the City presentation.
And we wish every one of our citizens here in Delaware a successful 2020 in the greatest place in America.